just to make my life ever so slightly easier, I'm gonna take down some of this end right here. It really shows that my Japanese saw skills are very rusty. Haven't used one in a couple of years, and it shows because I don't. There. And then we'll clean that up with the router, because now we have almost nothing left to route, which is more than ideal. All right. So essentially the goal is to clean up the underside of the fretboard. So technically we can take it to about there. Should be well and good. Now I need to hope that it doesn't break off the ends here of the binding, but we'll go slow. Just a tiny bit more. I think that much will do it. Let's have a look. Yep, just a hair more. Yep, there we go. Yep, that's what I'm looking for. Awesome. Let's get these headstock shaped up. That plugs into there. This comes around there into the pedestal back. High, automatic. Plug it in. Check that we're recording. We are recording, and go. I could have taken this down a bit. We'll make it through. round over the edges just a tiny bit because I don't want it to be a pointy headstock. That's not really what this guitar is about. Okay. I think that is it. Yeah. Job done. All right, let's get this truss rod access cut out or drilled out. What I usually like to do is start off with like a 3mm rad point, something like that. Well, maybe not 3mm. Let's go 4mm. No, yeah. 6mm. So yeah, I'm gonna start off with a 6mm drill bit just to kind of get my hole started. But I want to end it being an 8mm drill bit. Now, I don't want to go all the way through with the 6mm because if I hit the end of the truss rod, I'll break the brad point, and that's not fun. So instead I'm going to use a twist bit to do the very end. I have the center line, and usually I end up going just a smidge under the just a little bit under where the fretboard meets the neck. Going pretty slow because I don't want to all of a sudden jump and hit the truss rod. There we go. Just managed to pull it so that it didn't hit anything. That's nice. Then we're going to take an 8mm and open up that hole. Howl. I said that very strange. And also because now I'm using a twist bit, I don't want to go too far because then I'll hit the end of the truss rod and possibly ruin the place for the Allen key to sit. That would be very bad and would make the neck fairly unusable. Okay, so before radiusing the fretboard, just need to go ahead and check that the neck is straight. Okay, there is a tiny bit of relief in the middle, which is what we want in the end of it, but we need to get rid of that for the time being. I believe that is the right size. Are you not the right size? It's the right size. There we go. So just a quarter turn and we should be just fine. Let us start radiusing this bad boy. So I've made sure that the fret slots are cut deep enough that radiusing will not be an issue. I do need to cut the excess off of this. Don't really have any scrap piece of wood here. Hurts me to do that. It is a birch fretboard, so 150 should not be a bad place to start. And then I'll work my way up to, well, I'll work my way up to about 240 or something like that. Ah, almost forgot a very important part. Well, it's not very important, but it helps. Just see where I'm taking off material. So marking it with a pencil. Should also get my radius gauge already out. So we're gonna use some brass tubing like this. And essentially what we're gonna do is mark out from the, mark out from the middle. 17, no? Okay, I need to make these. Transfer lines here, so I know what I'm doing. And then the fretboard thickness is, well, I'm gonna take from the bottom of the fretboard here, I'm gonna do 3 mil and cross-sect that with the line that I drew, and that gives me my contact point. So I'm gonna use a brad awl just to mark it out. Three mil from the bottom of the fretboard is there. And the reason why I take the measurement from the bottom of the fretboard is because as I'm radiusing, well, I mean, it'll be a constant throughout, but I have a much more concrete line on the bottom of the fretboard than I do on the top. So I follow that because of that reason. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, I always check and double check and recheck. That's how I roll. Now the 12th fret, I am going to first get my center line, and then I'm going to divide that up into 2 as well. There. The wenge and walnut are a really similar color here, so it's really annoying trying to get the right contact point here. As long as the 12th fret, as long as they are, you know, at an equal height, then the rest will not look weird if they're a bit off. But those will definitely show. And then at the end of the fretboard, they need to be closer up together too. All right, there we go. Then it is time to check what diameter this inlay is. It is 2.5. Yep, 2.5. All right, cool. So, yep, 2.5, the one that I am missing. Am I? Is this 2.5? Ooh, is that 2.5? That might be 2.5. Might have gotten lucky there. Yeah. Yep. First things first, drill the hole. Then put in the glue. Put in the glue. Put in the inlay. And then I trim the inlay with a jeweler's saw, because if I cut it with clippers, the inlay will look more oval because it doesn't actually, because it presses it due to it being tubing. So instead, there. Oop. And the reason why I have my safety goggles on is because now, just a couple of taps, and if there were glue sprouting out, then that would go into my eyes, possibly, and that would suck. You wouldn't believe the amount of times that it has happened that the side dot inlays have been forgotten, the neck has been glued, and they need to figure out how the hell you're going to get side dots in there without destroying the guitar. I mean, certainly, I have never done that. I have, trust me. But, yeah. Got it done, though. It was annoying, but got it done. Just needed a bit of a extension bit to actually get the job done. Don't need too much glue. It will stay in there pretty well. Where did I put my saw? There. I can hear you shouting. I am gonna move my hand away. Don't worry. This will also be the opportune moment to realize that I've put the inlays in the wrong place. Which now I'm paranoid. I must recheck. 3, 5, 7, 9, 12, 15, 17, 19, 20, 21. 3, 5, 7, 9. Yeah. Great. Great. I got it. It's one of those very weird things where it's like you start doubting yourself a lot. At least I do. Almost every time I do this. Which makes no sense. I've done it a million times over, but it still gets to me. Then once I have all these in, just going to file them down with probably a fret leveling file, and then I'm going to use a leveling beam to finish that off. Actually, leveling file, clean out the middles, probably put in some walnut dust, and then leveling beam. There. A couple of more. All right, now what we want is the end part here, and have this piece of walnut that we're going to put in there. And that's going to fit nicely. So let's just mark it out. I could do some nice joinery here. I thought about it, but I decided that I'm not going to this time around, just due to time constraints. So we're looking at 51 and a half. So that should give me from here to here. Great. All right, let's chop that down to size, like so. Let's give the saw something to grip onto. There we are. Now we'll cut it. Very small bit of wood there. So this isn't a process that takes all that long. There. See how it fits. It's good that it's tight, but now we just need to be square. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna finesse that corner there ever so slightly. You can't see anything that I'm doing. There, that's pretty perfect. A little bit of type bond, like literally very little. This is a tiny piece that we're putting on here after all. Gonna put a little bit on the ends. Whoops. A little bit on both ends so that we have gluing surfaces on all three sides. And lining that up with the bottom of the fretboard, like so. And then pretty much the same deal as with the binding that we did before. It's just using masking tape. There. All right. Then we'll let that cure. Okay, good a time as any to now sand down the side dots. So just using a leveling beam. I could do this with a file as well. Actually, I might for the higher up ones. Now you can hear when you're filing the wood as the sound changes, which is a good time to use the leveling beam. Getting that a bit closer to home. But what we're gonna do now is we're actually gonna drill out the middles of all these holes, or all the tubing, because I want to fill that with some walnut dust, just to make them look that much nicer. Some of them have glue in the middle and some of them have some dust. So, good way to get rid of everything. And then I'm just gonna fill that up with super glue and walnut dust. So what we're gonna do is get some ebony dust nearby and ready to go. Fill that hole with glue and then press in the dust. Getting a scalpel to help me do that a little bit. Really make sure I get it in there. Once I'm satisfied I have enough, take some more glue and seal the deal, so to speak. There. And then I repeat that same process with the rest. Tomorrow is a very busy workshop day. Before that, I need to do a couple of things. First and foremost, I need to mark out where my tuners are going to sit. So, in order to do that, I have already marked out where my low E is going to be and where my high E are going to be. So, usually I put them 3.5 mil from the side and 3 mil from the side. These aren't the final measurements, of course, because things might still change, but ta-da. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. like so. And then let's get those square. I do need to remember to take a mechanical pencil with me to the workshop tomorrow because it's something that I have been sorely missing while working there. Okay, now we're just transferring the lines over. I don't know why I'm doing this whole teaching thing again. It's a habit I'm having a hard time breaking out of, really. Nothing wrong with it, it's just not the whole point with this build. What I'm basically doing is I'm trying to ensure having as straight string pull as I can. It is not something that is a complete must, but it is something that I try to aim for. Helps with tuning stability quite a bit, having straight string pull. All right, let us dig out the lovely Schaller tuners that we have for this and try and figure out where we want to place them. Now instead, what I think I'm gonna do here is first I need to check how far away I need them to be. So essentially, that would be my first position. Right around there, that would ideally, oh, nope, need to bring that in. Can't have it hanging off the side, so that would be my first position. So right around here. How far away from the edge is this? Look at it from straight above. 10 by the looks of it. If I bring that to 13, let's see what kind of position that will give me. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. So if I'm looking at 13, I can easily just do this. And the same thing on this side. So that's about there. Using my finger as a guide here. What's the relative distance between these now? If I bring it to 30, is that too tight? I think 30 looks pretty good. 30 looks pretty good. Sweet. So, I would have oh man, I love that. The washer on the Schaller tuners has this, it's not a flat washer. It actually indents or implants itself into the wood. I don't know if you can see that. Let's zoom in. So this is the washer for one of the tuners. And as you can see, it has this little piece that sticks out. And that has a fairly sharp edge to it. So I have a feeling and that's just gonna implant itself into the headstock, which is freaking awesome. It means that these tuners are not going anywhere. Nicely tightened, straight from the factory. So I'm just laying these out so that I can get a rough idea of where I want things to go. I can now start to adjust things so they're a bit more straight. There, there, and there. That needs to be brought out. All right, sweet. So this is our first high E, low E, then 30 millimeters along, which is here.
13 millimeters from the side of the fretboard, which is here. There. 13, which is there. 13. There's something about keeping measurements stuck in your head by just repeating them. That way you are prone to automatically think of the right number, thus avoiding that you make missteps along measuring out something that needs to be consistent. All right, let's check that that has enough clearance. Still rotate. So that's going to be there. And that's completely fine. That's fine. And that's fine. Awesome. Very cool beans. No tear out. Very minimal tear out. That's very nice. All right, moving on. There we go. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. Moving onwards.